Oh dear. Oh my, do y'all know what you have just done? You see, America might have gotten it wrong when coming to Charlie and Hannah, but we didn't know. We didn't have all of the information, okay? So we voted based on what we were able to see at that time. However, y'all just casted that vote tonight having all of the information. Y'all just casted that vote tonight after complaining about Huda all damn day, okay? So when she's cursing Jeremiah out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, please don't complain. Please don't complain, baby, because you'll be getting exactly what you voted for. Let's talk about it.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're gonna talk about it. Today, we are reviewing Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 14. Child, we are already 14 episodes in. 14 episodes in. If you have been back for more than 3 episodes and you haven't hit subscribe, baby, come on now. Come on now. What are you doing? Hit subscribe. Hit the like button. Make sure you hit that notification bell because we are on our way to 40K and I know that we can get there very soon. All right. So let's get right into this review, y'all. Let's get right into it because honestly, the end of tonight's episode, well, last night's episode, because today's the next day, but the end of the episode had me looking at these people like, are y'all really afraid of Huda? Like, for real, for real? Let's get into it, okay? So Huda and Jeremiah are still arguing in the speakeasy. Jeremiah says that he would never, ever call her out of her name. And Huda was like, oh, really? You wouldn't? You wouldn't call me out of my name? Which, in my opinion, shows that that is the type of language that she is used to using in her relationship with her partner. So they just be walking around the house calling each other all types of B's, all types of H's, all types of P's, all the words, okay? But Jeremiah says that that's something that he would never ever do or say. He swears to it. So Huda says that any man would have went after his girl in that situation, and Jeremiah always does things to show her that he is not as interested in her as he claims to be. So Jeremiah says, okay, wow, so now I'm not a man. So now I'm not a man. This shouldn't be so hard. None of it should be, okay? And Huda says that he didn't take the opportunity to step up in a moment where he should have, and America knows that he's not invested in this relationship. And Jeremiah says, I think you have it kind of flipped. I think you got it kind of flipped because you've done some very unhealthy things. And Huda says, oh, so you think America hates me? Oh, so you think America hates me? And Jeremiah doesn't even answer the question. But Huda is fully convinced that America is on her side and voted this way because we see that Jeremiah is doing the bare minimum. Huda is still 1000% oblivious, and I hate this for her. I really hate it. No self-reflection at all. So next we see Amaya and Austin. They're having one of their usual smiley, laughy conversations. And we see Shelly looking over at them. And I'm like, girl, what you looking over there for? Why are you looking over? Don't even look at them. Okay, don't even look at them. And I'm not mad at all that Austin is branching out at this point because I'm so tired of hearing him boo-hooing over Shelly every damn day. Okay, so Austin tells Amaya that he's a very straightforward person. And if he feels a way about something, he would rather talk it out immediately so that the issue can be resolved. And Amaya agrees. Okay, we know Amaya gonna step with it. She might not have the right energy or attitude, but we know Amaya is gonna step to you with it as well. All right, so we see Austin in his confessional talking about how awesome and genuine Amaya is, and he says that she feels like a breath of fresh air. Whatever you say, Austin, okay, because you know damn well that you need to connect with someone. You need to connect with someone or y'all are both out of here, okay? So Amaya tells Austin that she's so happy to see that he's in better spirits now, and I've been told y'all from when Austin and Amaya had their very first conversation that I thought that they were both, you know, right here, those two. Yeah, still a good match in my opinion. So I'm not mad at this growing connection at all. All right. So next we see Hannah and Pepe. They're on the dock and she's telling him that she's ready to get to know him now. Okay. She forgot about Charlie. She's ready to get to know Pepe. And Pepe says that he wants to be honest and respectful and not play any games with Hannah during this experience. And she receives that and they share a long, steamy kiss. This kiss look good. That kiss looked really good. It really did. And we see Hannah is in her confessional saying that she feels really great about where they are at the moment. And these two, I think these two, they might actually turn out to be a little something for real. I think they might be a little something for real. We'll see, okay? Because we know that Hannah, she likes that mess. She likes that toxic type of love, okay? So next we see Alandria and Taylor. They're walking hand in hand to have a chat and she compliments him, okay? She says, oh, you look nice. And he responds with, thank you, I appreciate you. Still no reciprocation. He does not compliment. At least we don't see him compliment her back because I know someone gonna be in the comments. Maybe it was edited out. Yeah, we know the show is edited and produced, but I'm just going by what we see. We did not see him compliment her back, okay? All he does is ask her, how was her date, right? She had a little full body massage date and Alandra's like, oh my God, who told you that? I didn't even get a chance to tell you. I was gonna tell you. So Taylor asks if they kissed, and Alandria says it was just a little peck on the cheek, nothing like that. And she reiterates that she gets more of a physical vibe from Jalen, and Taylor doesn't do that. And I think that Alandria may be equating Taylor's lack of physical connection to her to something more positive, like he's more of a gentleman or something like that, or he wants to take things slow because he's just this good guy, when it's probably more so because he's just not attracted to you. But she doesn't know that, okay? So don't give him too much credit, girl. I know you don't know that, but don't give him too much credit, okay, Alandria? But she also told us that one of the main things that she likes about Jalen is that he is so expressive about his attraction to her, right? She said that before, but when she speaks to Taylor, it's like she's trying to downplay it or make it seem like it's a bad thing. I just found that to be a little bit interesting, okay? So in her confessional, Alandria says that she likes that her bond with Taylor is so strong, and that's why he's not tripping on her date with Jalen. Child, she also says that she was thinking, yo, if Taylor leaves, I might have to pack my bags and go. Girl, listen, you better had not done that. And you shouldn't even be saying anything like that to Taylor to give him all of this confidence and reassurance, because he doesn't do that for you, girl. He doesn't give you that. So don't give... Anyway, this conversation does make Taylor feel more confident in their bond, and we see them go into the photo booth. They take some pics. They share some more of those awkward kisses, and as soon as they finish kissing, you see Taylor open the photo booth to look outside, and I'm like, are you looking for one of your bros to high five? Because we know every time he kisses Alandria, he has to high five one of his bros, okay? So meanwhile, in the speakeasy, Jeremiah is still apologizing, and he's swearing to God that although she's awesome, Iris is just not his type. This is what he's telling Huda. She's not my type. She's not my type, okay? And Huda's like, yeah, but you still slept in the bed with her. You still slept in the bed with her. I don't care how far apart y'all were. Y'all were in the same bed, okay? So Jeremiah says, look, leaving here, I had genuine feelings for you, and I think that I did a pretty good job trying to make you feel happy, and I have no regrets on how close we got, and I don't regret choosing you, even though it led us to this point. And all Huda has to say is, you hurt me, man. You really did. You hurt me. You broke me. And honestly, at this point, if I was Jeremiah, I would have had to get up and leave the room. Because it's clear that Huda won't be satisfied until Jeremiah is in tears with her. That's what she wants. She wants him to cry too. Remember in an earlier episode, I can't even remember what they were doing, but she was like, oh my God, you would cry for me? And he was like, okay, chill out. She wants this man to cry. That's what she wants. Okay, so he's apologized multiple times. He explained his reasoning. Either you accept it or you don't, okay? And you're just trying your best to make him feel worse in this situation. Not once did she apologize for her part in the toxicity of all of this. Not once did she even apologize for calling him the B word. She didn't even say sorry for that. And we're going to see how she feels about it later, because someone else is going to question her about it. She doesn't care. She's very unapologetic about this entire situation. And we've seen her to do so many things where she'll get on Jeremiah for it, but she'll turn around and do the same thing, if not worse. For example, she got on him for discussing their issues with Iris when they had a private chat, right? Remember when she said, no one, you shouldn't tell anyone about our problems ever. No one should know. It's not their business. But when she's upset, she gets to scream and call him the B word and the P word for the entire villa to hear and see. It's okay for her, okay? She's still on that me, what about me? And at this point, what more can Jeremiah say? What more can he say, right? So Jeremiah says, you know what, I'm good. And he gets up to leave. And after all of that, he still wants a hug from Huda. And I'm like, Jeremiah, either you really feed off of this bad energy, or you're just trying to look like the good guy. Maybe it's a little of both. But Huda tells him that she's not in the place to give him a hug. And at this point, I was just like, you know what, Jeremiah, are you going to pick her? Are you going to pick her at the recoupling? Because that's what it was giving in this scene, all right? So we see everyone getting ready for bed. The guys are cracking up about the way that Huda was sitting with her shades on when the three couples were coming back from their date. And Iris is saying, what the hell did America get me into? What did y'all do, all right? So we see that Huda is still upset that Jeremiah is sleeping in the bed with Iris again. And in the middle of the night, Huda gets up and she goes to cry in the hallway, and Jeremiah sees this, okay? So the next morning, we see Jeremiah apologizing to Huda for not being able to get up and comfort her last night. First of all, how did this conversation even begin? I need to know how this conversation started. Did he tell her that he saw her? Did she go to him crying and asking him why he didn't follow her out of the bedroom last night? Why he didn't come check on her? I just have so many questions, okay? So next, we also see Ace and Nick. They're agreeing that Huda and Jeremiah's relationship is toxic, and Nick says that he's absolutely over it because it's sucking all of the energy out of him. And I can definitely see that. It seems like the entire villa is moving weird because of this couple's presence, all right? Jeremiah was arguing with the guys. Huda is pressing bombshells for a rundown on their date with Jeremiah. Their little issue yesterday consumed the entire villa for the entire afternoon, okay? So anyway, we see Taylor bring Alandria breakfast before Jalen, and I said, come on, Jalen. Come on, you got to get them thick thighs up the steps. Get her breakfast on time early. Get it to her early, okay? Because you have someone else gunning for your spot. So we also see that Pepe made breakfast and Taylor takes it up to Huda since he assumed that Jeremiah wasn't going to get her any breakfast because it was already kind of late and Jeremiah wasn't even downstairs yet. And we see Jeremiah telling Nick that he's just ready to be happy and at peace and he doesn't know if he can do that with Huda. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. So we see Ace bring breakfast for Shelly and Jalen brings a plate up for Alandria. So now she has 2 plates of breakfast. Then we see Jeremiah come up with a plate for Huda, but she isn't in the makeup room and he says, damn, because he sees that someone else already brought her food. And when he goes back downstairs, Amaya tells Jeremiah that Taylor is the one who brought the breakfast upstairs for Huda, okay? So next we see Ace, Nick, Sierra, Alandria, Taylor, and Shelly, and they're chatting about Huda and Jeremiah. And Nick is absolutely shocked to find out that Jeremiah made Huda breakfast this morning. He was like, what? He made her breakfast? And he asks them if they feel like this is a relationship that could last or that should be fixed. And first of all, I was just like, Nick, why are you so invested in their relationship? Okay. Have you had these deep conversations with Sierra? Because you asking a lot of questions about Huda and Jeremiah. But anyway, Alandria says, no, if I'm being honest, no, it's not a relationship that should be fixed. Okay. And Nick says that the toxicity is affecting everyone in the villa and they all agree. They all agree. Okay. Remember that. All right. Because I agree too. So Sierra says that she was actually afraid for Iris with the way that Huda charged at her yesterday. And Shelly mentions how Huda would always try to set the tone of who any new bombshells can and cannot speak to. And that's a red flag. Okay, so ladies, y'all see how Huda behaves and y'all don't like it. And I know that y'all are smart enough to understand that that's most likely the reason why America voted the way that they voted. And at this point, I'm like, okay, the emotions have died down a bit. They've died down a bit. I'm gonna need one of y'all to be real with Huda and stop babying her as if she's done absolutely nothing wrong because y'all know that that's not the case. But all y'all have done is validate her madness all up and through this episode, all the way to the very end. All the way to the very end. Okay, so child, next we see Jeremiah talking to Huda and he's pulling her in for a hug and asking for a chat. She says that they can talk later and Jeremiah picks up on the fact that Huda is kind of trying to give him like this nonchalant attitude right now and he calls her the nonchalant queen, okay? And we see her look over to the group who was just talking about her. So Nick, Shelly, and Sierra are like, why is she looking over here? Why does she think that we're talking about her? Even though we are, but like, why is she looking over here? And she's just smiling, okay? But the vibe is clearly off in the villa. And it looks like the girls are really over Huda. At least that's what I thought, okay? So Jalen pulls Alandria for a chat to debrief about their date. And Alandria tells him that she absolutely loved it. And she was so happy to get away with him from all of the drama in the villa. But then after saying that, she brings the conversation right back to Huda and Jeremiah. And she says that Jeremiah is just drama. And it's only been 2 weeks, but at least Huda saw his true colors within the 2 weeks. And they both feel like Huda is in too deep, okay? So next we see Huda and Jeremiah. They have another chat. And he tells her that he had a revelation. He's like, I understand why we have so much chemistry and then things just go completely left. And he says that since they got intimate so soon, they skipped the friends part and they went straight to relationship vibes immediately. Meanwhile, we see the other Islanders looking on and Austin is like, oh boy, these two are talking again. What's happening? What's happening? And Orlando's like, girl, I don't know. And the way that I started cracking up because I've made that mistake a couple of times before. But anyway, Jeremiah says that the only way that they could possibly have a future is if they start off being friends again. Okay. And Huda says, well, I'm hurt. I've shared so many vulnerable parts of me with you, and it will be hard to go back to just being buddy-buddy. And I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And you know what? I understood what Huda was saying here. It can be very hard to be intimate with someone and then talking about y'all gonna be just friends, okay? Yes, that can be very hard. And Jeremiah says that he just wishes that they were still a couple so that they can sleep in bed together. I said, oh, brother. Oh, brother, Jeremiah. So Huda asks him, why is he still sleeping in bed with Iris? And he says, look, I'm not gonna sleep in soul ties on a recoupling that I don't want when I still have feelings for you. And it would be different if we were still good. All right. So technically what Jeremiah is saying is, look, I'm not going to reject my current partner to appease you when we're not even good. And I don't know if you're going to pick me if we have a recoupling. Okay. That's just what I heard Jeremiah say, which was smart. Why would he mess up what he can possibly have with Iris over Huda? Why would he do that when they're beefing right now? So while they're talking, Iris sees that Huda's legs are wrapped around Jeremiah, and she tells Jalen, oh, you know what? I'm done. Let these two be crazy together. I'm done. I'm over it, okay? So Huda tells Jeremiah, look, you sleeping in bed with Iris, that's not gonna make me like you more. Jeremiah says, I'm not trying to make you like me. That's not my goal. And baby, Huda explodes. She throws a pillow at him and she says, well, don't f***ing talk to me then. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And she gets up and she storms off and everyone is looking like, ciao. Ciao. Here they go. Here they go. But of course, Huda isn't done because she comes back and she's talking with her hands and she's doing all of this and all of that. And Jalen and Iris are joking about this being Huda's 15th crash out, okay? These two just got here and they already know how you get down. Huda, I'm gonna need you to learn how to control your emotions, okay? Because just like Amaya, there will be times where you have a point. You have a valid point that you can make, but your delivery is so wrong to the point where your point becomes irrelevant. It doesn't even matter anymore. And from the outside looking in, you come off as hella aggressive. You talk to Jeremiah like this. You came at Iris like this yesterday. And if Jeremiah has an ulterior motive, you make it very easy for him to look like the good guy. You know what this is reminding me of? It's giving me Jackie and Marshall from Love is Blind. Now, I know some of y'all love you some Marshall. I know some of y'all love y'all some Marshall, but Marshall was no angel, okay? Marshall was no angel. We just didn't see it as clearly because Jackie was just like Huda, unhinged, okay? So, child, we see Huda go back over to the guys and the girls who were just talking about her, and she's like, you know what, y'all? I'm done. I'm done. And Huda would hate me because the way that I would have stopped her and said, we not doing that today. Let me stop you right there. We're not about to do this today. Yesterday was your crash out day, baby. Today is a new day, okay? You're not going to consume our entire day with Jeremiah and you and all of this mess and you cursing him out and calling him the B word, the P word, the C word. No, man, we're not doing it today, okay? But they don't say any of that. They listen as Huda just yells and calls Jeremiah all types of names. And the way that everyone is just staring off into space or giving each other the side eye, like, you see this right now, child. Hannah is sitting behind Huda, cracking up, cracking up. And Huda hasn't peeped it yet. She has not read the room. She's just talking and talking. And everyone is clearly depleted. And they have nothing more to give to this Huda and Jeremiah situation, or so I thought, child. And we even see Nick referring to her as Hurricane Huda. So next, Jeremiah tells Alandria and Austin that he has real feelings for Huda, but they just react differently to certain conversations. But it's giving cooked. It's giving cooked because how can I think about a future, right, and talk about marriage with her? And Alandria says, exactly, and you're still trying to process the fact that she even has a kid. And Austin was sitting there like, hold up, she has a kid? Hold on a second. She has a kid, and Huda and Jeremiah are like, oh, don't say nothing. Just don't say anything. You weren't supposed to know. Just don't tell anyone. But you know how men be chatting, and we know that Austin is going to say something if he wants to. And I'm also sure that Nick had been told Ace about Huda's daughter. That's part of the reason why he was so underwhelmed when Huda had that whole speech, and she told him, I'm a mother. I have a kid. Okay, Ace was like, yeah, I know. So next we see Shelly go work out with Austin because he's in the gym with Amaya, and she says that she still likes Austin and she's enjoying spending quality time with him. We actually see her touch his chest and they joke and they share a couple of laughs, and Austin says that he's afraid to put himself out there with Shelly, but he does think that they're moving in the right direction. If I was Austin at this point, I wouldn't give Shelly any play. I'm so sorry. I would focus and apply pressure with Amaya, but that's just me, okay? So next we see Jeremiah bring Iris to the speakeasy, and he tells her that he finally feels clear-headed and he trusts himself not to get too wrapped up like that ever again. And Iris says that she has found herself walking on eggshells when trying to talk to him because of Huda, and it's a weird feeling, but she does have an open mind and an open heart. She says that she's very mature and she understands this process and she's not going to get tripped up about it. So Jeremiah reassures her that he doesn't want her to feel like a plan B, and we see Iris in her confessional, and she tells us that she actually feels bad for Jeremiah since it seems like he's alone in all of this. So she tells him that she wants to be that person who he knows is there for him, and she advises him to follow his heart no matter what. So next we see Ace and Shelly, okay? They're in that dirty ass Soul Ties bed, and they're smiling and flirting. They chat about wanting more tattoos. Shelly tells Ace that he needs to get a tattoo of her face on his stomach, and Ace says, well, if we get married, then I can do something like that. So Shelly tells us that she's nervous about pouring too much into Ace while still exploring with Austin, and she tells Ace, look, I want to sleep out here with you in Soul Ties tonight, and he just smirks and laughs because we know Ace is like, Not too fast. We never know what Ace has up his sleeve, and we know he's not going to let anyone trip him up in this game, all right? So next we see everyone getting ready for tonight, and Nick is being shady, telling Jeremiah, yo, I be forgetting that you coupled up with Iris. Nick is so messy and shady, and Jeremiah says that Iris is cool AF. Huda is still talking about Jeremiah in the makeup room, and Sierra says, well, you know what? I think the name calling, I think you should like chill on that. You should kind of like die that down a little bit. And Huda says, I was crashing out. Very unapologetic. She doesn't give a damn, okay? No self-reflection, no nothing. And she's running around thinking that America is trying to save her. Huda, the delusion, girl. This is why Jeremiah's issues will be able to skate under the radar in comparison to Huda's. This is why. So we see Nick telling Jeremiah that Huda was calling him the B word again. And I said, yes, Nick, tell him he needs to know this information, because the way that he was acting today, I wasn't too sure. I wouldn't have been surprised if Jeremiah... Let me not get ahead of myself, but I wasn't too sure. So thank you, Nick, for telling Jeremiah that. Alondria asks Huda what's a non-negotiable for her since she's still willing to try again with Jeremiah. And she says, I don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about it later. See, here's the thing. Huda doesn't want any solutions. Huda doesn't want any advice. She doesn't want to say what her non-negotiables are because she doesn't have any. All she wants to do is talk, complain, be the victim, be an energy vampire. She wants everyone to feel sorry for her. She wants everyone to hate Jeremiah. That is it. Now, why did Hannah say that she hopes that tonight is messy? Hannah is growing on me. Hannah be having me cracking up through these episodes, okay? She really does. So, child, everyone gets downstairs. Huda is clearly upset because she's walking in alone and Jeremiah is walking in with Iris. So when they get to the table, she's all sulking, and you see Taylor looking like, oh boy. And then all of a sudden you hear the loudest sniff, okay? And everyone turns to see Huda crying, and she's walking away. So Hannah chases after her, and back at the table, the mood is completely messed up. Everyone is just looking around like, here we go again. So Huda's in the bathroom crying because Jeremiah avoided eye contact with her. And child, Hannah's like, girl, you don't need him, okay? He's a little boy. You need a real man. And girl, you're a mother, and your dream man can walk through that door any day now. So Huda says, look, I want to see that someone knows my worth. And that's the problem right there, Huda. You want someone else to see the value in you before you even see it in yourself. So you're frantically searching for it, and anything that feels like a hint of what love is to you, you attach onto it, but you attach onto it in a very unhealthy, jealous, possessive way. And you're really going to need to see the lady. All jokes aside, you're really going to need to see the lady to get some help through that, because Huda has already said that she's afraid of rejection. She's afraid of abandonment, and it definitely shows with the way that she acts. Still not an excuse to talk to people crazy. Because you can fill out an application and do a video to come on this show. You can fill out an application and a form to go see the lady. Okay, you can do that, but you're gonna have to get some help when this is over. And I hope that someone is already booking your appointment. Okay, girl? So next we see Austin and Amaya. They have a chat, and both Shelly and Ace are looking at them. And I'm like, why y'all looking? What y'all looking at? Don't look at them, okay? So Austin tells us that he likes Shelly, but he's tired of the triangle, and things with Amaya seem more intentional, and it feels good to be speaking to someone who seems to be all about him. Austin tells her that his family is from Michigan, and Amaya tells him that her family is from the Dominican Republic, and even if her partner isn't from the DR2, her child will know the culture, her child will speak Spanish, and I said they better, okay? They better. So Austin agrees, and he says that he knows that his biggest reward in life will be becoming a dad. And I said, okay, Austin, now make sure you're an active dad, okay? Make sure you share the chores and the childcare, okay? And the mental and the emotional labor of being a parent. Make sure that you share it. Don't get me started. So Amaya tells Austin he'd be an amazing father. I said, girl, you don't know that. You don't know that. But it sounds like a cute thing to say, and Austin appreciates it. Amaya tells him to pick her up like a princess, and child, Austin picks her up in one swoop, and everyone sees. And Hannah's downstairs talking about, oop. And Taylor was like, girl, stop. Why you being so loud, girl? When I tell you that I was cracking up during the scene, Hannah is so funny to me, and the way that Taylor was like, girl. But Austin and Amaya, they end their chat with a high five, so no kiss or anything like that. And Ace and Shelly, they still don't look too happy about it, all right? So child, next we see Ariana walking in, and ooh, that pink dress. It was cute. The pink dress was cute, but you know that the Islanders are shook, okay? And she tells them to join her by the fire pit. So Ariana lets them know that there will be a recoupling tonight. And since there's an equal number of boys and girls, they're going to do things a little differently. And they're going to find out whose door is closed and whose door is open. And I said, yes, let's get to it, baby. Let's get to it. So we see that each girl has a door with her name on it. And tonight, the girls get to decide who can and cannot open that door. So all of the ladies walk through their respective doors, they close it, and then they have to lock their answers in for who they think they have the best connection with or who they would like to start a new connection with. So the girls can only open the door for one boy and hope that her pick is standing on the other side. And Ariana tells the boys to stand in front of the door of the girl who they want to couple up with. If the door opens, then that means that they've chosen each other and it's a match. But if the door remains locked, it is not a match. And any boy or girl who isn't matched will be single and vulnerable. All right, so let's run through this. So Nick stands in front of Sierra's door and it's a match. Yay for them. Pepe stands in front of Hannah's door and it's a match. They remain a couple. Yay for them. Austin stands in front of Amaya's door and I said, yes, I hope Amaya is standing behind that door, and she is. So it's a match. I was really happy for them. I was happier than I expected that I would be, but I was very happy for them. And Shelly is in her confessional talking about, wait, when did you and Amaya make a connection? The same time that you and Ace were connecting. You see, Shelly, not you have me making a damn point for Austin, girl. Not you have me making a point for Shelly. Come on, for Austin. Anyway, but child, it's a good thing that he picked Amaya because he would have been vulnerable, all right? So it's Ace's turn and he pretends like he's going to stand in front of Iris's door, but he goes back to Shelly and he says that he picked Shelly because she's really challenged him to break down his walls and be vulnerable, and because she lights up a room. And it's a match and they're excited to sleep in the same bed tonight. They look cute or whatever. They look cute, but Ace, don't be playing with my girl. Do not play with my girl, okay? Because the fact that you went and stood in front of Iris's door, we gonna see, because we know in the last episode, Ace was acting like he was in love with Iris, okay? So next we see Jalen stand in front of Alandria's door, and child, the door is locked. The door is closed, and now he's vulnerable. And I'm like, Alandria, girl, you really picking Taylor over... Girl, whatever. So Alandria and Taylor match, okay? And she says that she feels great, like she's home again, and this is where she wants to be. Okay, girl. Live life, love, okay? So child, next is Jeremiah's turn, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited. I was really excited to see who he picked. So Huda is already crying. She's behind the door shaking her head. She's huffing and puffing. And child, when Jeremiah stood in front of Iris's door, when Jeremiah stood in front of Iris's door, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. And everyone else looked shocked and afraid. Shocked and afraid. And baby, Jeremiah turned the handle. And it's a match. It's a match and they're hugging. Yo, I did not expect to be this happy for them either. I'm cheesing from ear to ear and everyone is clapping for them. And Huda breaks down and she starts crying. And I said, damn, because that side-by-side shot of Jeremiah and Iris hugging and Huda sliding down the wall looked absolutely crazy, okay? So Jeremiah says that he picked Iris because she was his calm in the storm and it feels very healthy. And Iris says that she had a great talk with Jeremiah today and she's looking forward to seeing where this goes. Meanwhile, we see Huda, she's behind her door getting herself together, okay? She's talking shit, calling them liars under her breath. And child, when Huda comes outside of her door, everyone is looking like... they don't know what to expect. Jeremiah is afraid to even look in her direction and everyone is still in shock. So Huda says, look, my door was open for Jeremiah. And listen to this. When Ariana asks her why she opened her door for him, Huda starts going off. She says, well, I had a conversation with Jeremiah today and he told me he's not even attracted to Iris. He said Iris not even his type. He said he doesn't even want to sleep in the same bed as her and he still cares about me, okay? And she says that this was his chance to prove that he cared for her once again, and once again, he failed. Congratulations, you're a... And I said, oh my God, Huda, you're not making your case look any better at all. And she still thinks that America is trying to protect her. Child, Jeremiah says that he didn't choose her because she's toxic. And Huda tells Jeremiah to enjoy his safe option and his scapegoat. Can one of y'all please tell Huda the word? Can one of y'all please tell Huda that it's not a scapegoat? Please. We don't want to see her 3 episodes in a row talking about a damn scapegoat. Okay, so Huda has to join Jalen by Ariana, and Iris whispers to Jeremiah that he's not the safe option for her. And Jeremiah says, you know what, that's cool. I just wanted to break the cycle. And Iris says, I totally understand. Okay, so child, next Ariana tells them that the fellow Islanders have to vote on who will be dumped from the island tonight, Huda or Jalen. So Ariana will call them up as a couple and they will each get their individual vote and they have to stand behind the person that they want to save. So child, behind Huda is Amaya, Sierra, Shelly, Iris, and Ace. And I said, Interesting, okay? And behind Jalen is Nick, Jeremiah, and Austin. So Nick, you might not be a minion after all, okay? You might not. Now, I don't get why Ace voted to keep Huda. I don't know if he wanted to stand in solidarity with Shelly, but Jalen was no longer a threat to your bro Taylor. Alandria already dumped him and picked Taylor. So I don't get that. Tell me your thoughts below, okay? So now we have Alandria and Taylor left, and we see them both stand behind Huda as well. Lastly, it's down to Pepe and Hannah. Hannah stands with Huda, and Pepe stands with Jalen. So Huda got 8 votes, Jalen got 4, and he has to leave the island immediately. He says thank you to everyone for the experience, and everyone says their goodbyes. Alandria tells us that she's really sad to see Jalen leave because he's such a sweet and gentle giant, and he's gonna make someone the luckiest girl in the world. We see Iris crying because Jalen was her buddy. They came in together as bombshells, and she says that he was an absolute sweetheart to her. And then we see Huda. She comes over to Iris to comfort her and to thank her for her vote, and Iris does hug her back. And I said, wow, would you look at that? Would you look at that? But Huda says that she feels horrible, and she knows that she wasn't the best to Iris, so she's very grateful that she helped in giving her a second chance, and she loves her. And I said, okay, girl, we gonna see, because Iris is coupled up with Jeremiah. So we gonna see how far that love goes, and if you go back to calling her and Jeremiah the B word, all right? So real question, are y'all really afraid of Huda like that? Because the way that y'all voted, I'm like, what's going on? Because what was the point of all of that complaining that y'all were doing only to turn around and keep her? The math is not mathing, and all that y'all have done really is validate her delusion even more. And now she's going to be even more indignant because of it. And now she feels like she has the support of the majority of the villa. Child, the next crash out is going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. Tell me all of your thoughts about this episode. Tell me all of your predictions, child. This episode was a doozy. And child, from the previews, it looks like Sierra might be the one to have to put her foot down with Huda. And it looks like everyone might finally be done with her for good this time. We're just going to have to wait and see. Please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe before you leave. Thank you all so much for sticking with me till the end. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.